For those who are acquainted with Sellerboard for Amazon, this dashboard, and for you, Vova,
Hmm.
it seems familiar, because basically the
Yeah.
profit dashboard is pretty much the same. So the
Hmm.
layout is the same. For those who are new to Sellerboard, this is the profit dashboard, and it gives you functionality necessarily for analyzing, your profitability on different levels. So on an account level, on the product level, and how you can do that. Basically, you can use several type of views for that. Up here, you have the tiles view, which the view selected right now. You have the chart view, the profit and loss view, and the trends view. I'm going to show you the other ones in a minute. Right now, let's see what the tile view offers you. So you basically have these tiles up here. Each of the tile represents a certain time frame, and these tiles are customizable, so you can always select which time frame you want to see in a specific tile. For instance, this one is set for today right now. So you have the sales, the number of orders, returns, advertising costs, net profit for this specific day, and you can compare it to another date, like for instance to yesterday, and I can see where I'm kind of going, what's the dynamic. It's a very good way to get a quick glimpse of where you're standing in terms of performance. If you want to go a little bit deeper, then you can always click on more down here and to see how your profit calculation was actually made, which factors were taken into account, and how much each cost subtracted from your initial sales to end up with your net profit at the end. So you have your sales, obviously. Those will be divided into your gross sales, into the promotions that you ran, and into shipping that you've charged for. So besides that, you will have a number of orders, the units that you sold, your advertising costs for the external marketing channels that you've connected to your Shopify account, right? This is the data that we pull directly from the advertising accounts, but I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So then you have your shipping costs, your payment fees. So in other words, your gateway fees, because each time a customer pays for your product on Shopify, you choose which type of payment systems you want to connect to your Shopify account. And depending on the payment method, you will have a specific payment fee or gateway fee. So all of them will be reflected here. By the way, they're customizable. Then you have your cost of goods, taxes that might apply in your home country where you located. Then you will end up with your gross profit. And at the end, you will have the option to also take into account the overhead expenses that you might have in your business that are not necessarily related to any costs directly on Shopify, right? So this might include your services like accountant services, photography that you're doing for your products, maybe, I don't know, virtual assistants or other stuff that you're paying for. So we have a separate dashboard for that. I'm going to show it to you in a minute. Then you will be left with your net profit and some other metrics that will show you different stuff in terms where you're standing, like what is your return on advertising spend. By the way, a new metric that we introduced, this is profit on advertising spend. So most of the time we are looking at the ROS, but sometimes the return on advertising spend that is taken, that takes sales into account is not so relevant, because if you have a low margin, then it is better to look at what is the relation between your profit, and your advertising spend, because this is important, because your additional costs may be very high. So we've introduced that metric because it's a new thing that we've been requested to introduce, frankly. All right, so this is a breakdown of what you can see on an account level. You have the option to compare these periods on an account level. Then down here, you will have the products view. And on the products view, you can see which products were sold in this specific period. You can see the metrics that are related to a specific product. So for instance, I see this jewelry red box, and I see that I've sold today 3 units of it in a total of $291.72. I spent 0 on advertising. My gross profit was this, and my net profit was the same because I had no additional expenses that were linked to it. And again, I can go to more here and expand the metrics and see a breakdown of how the profitability was calculated for this specific product. Besides, if I want to add additional metrics to the spreadsheet, I can press this button right here and see what else I want to see in the spreadsheet on the products view. So if I want to see the shipping costs, I can check this box and they will instantly pop up here. So I will see how much exactly I've spent on shipping for every product. The same applies to your orders, so you can get a similar order view. So if you select a period, then you will see the orders that you had in this exact period. Obviously, you have tools to filter out your results here, select specific products. Or for Shopify, another relevant thing is analyzing different channels. So up here in Amazon, if you work in different marketplaces, then you would see like different marketplaces here, like the US maybe, or the UK, or whatever you work. So you would be able to switch between marketplaces view. And for Shopify, you might have different channels where you're doing the sales, like not necessarily only on the website itself, on the Shopify store, but you can have sales that are coming from maybe your TikTok store, or maybe from flip.shop, or maybe they're coming from Snappy or other services that are like third-party channels that are sending customers directly to your Shopify store. And what you want to do is analyze those channels separately, because you like have investments, right, that you basically allocate as advertising costs for a channel, as you want to see how well you're performing, right? So this is the place where you select which channels you want to analyze. This is pretty much it in terms of seeing the products view and the tile view. Then this is the chart view. What is next? For those who know the software for Amazon sellers, pretty much the same again. So what it can show you is basically the evolution of a specific set of metrics on an account level. Right now, we're looking at units sold, advertising costs, returns, and net profit, and how all of these metrics evolved over time, so month by month. I can always click on configuration right here on the left and select other metrics that I'm interested in. For instance, I want to see how my profit margin evolved over time. I'm going to check this box and see it over here on the chart, right? So this is basically the main functionality of this view. Again, for the selected period, which you can change right here, I will see the main metrics for profit calculation and the products sold in this period down at the bottom of the screen. Then we have the profit and loss view, which is basically like a giant spreadsheet which displays all of the key metrics for your Shopify business month by month, or you can set it up, for instance, day by day if you're looking like at a 30-day period, and you can analyze the dynamics of different metrics that are specific to different areas of your business. For instance, if I want to analyze how my advertising costs evolved over time, I can see this line right here, and I can expand it and see like different channels. So I can see that, for instance, over here, I started advertising on Facebook and basically on all of the channels in December. This is the demo account, by the way. So, and I can see that in January, my advertising costs for Facebook rised, and then they begin to, in February, they decreased and rised again. And now in the middle of the month, and I can already project that I'm going to have a pretty much the same picture by the end of April as I'm having in March. So if I want to dig a little bit deeper, so on a product level to see trends, right? How metrics evolve on a product level, then I'm going to use the trends view, which is up here. How this works. First of all, you need to select the metric that you are interested in. For instance, if I'm looking at sales, all right, let's keep it at sales. And then I'm going to have the metrics displayed month by month, or again, I can select to view them day by day, but already on the product level. And I will also have a small chart that will help me quickly understand whether there's a trend coming up, right? So maybe I can spot it and then act on it. So do something about it. This is a good way to analyze these kind of things on the product level. All right, all in all, this is it. Last thing probably is the fact that you can always export this data. You have a button right here at the top of the screen, because sometimes it's important, to share this data or maybe do an analysis of your own. So yeah, you can always do that. For the profit analytics part, this is like from a very top level, pretty much it.